This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the morning of Monday, February 19th, 2024. I'm Alex Brown. Indianapolis was once again in the global spotlight as the NBA All-Star Game set new records at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Some 125,000 visitors descended upon Indy for the weekend, and Indiana Pacers owner Steve Simon says the impact is substantial and will continue long-term.
This $320 million impact, you really got to look at the ROI in 5 years, because I think new partnerships, new relationships, new developments, new corporate business, new talent is going to come over time after this event to our city and state, and we're strategic in that.
Simon noted that Indy hosting the All-Star Game also created a major philanthropic impact, particularly with the legacy projects that were created throughout the state. Vincennes University will break ground today on its planned $33.9 million Center for Health Sciences and Active Learning. The two-story, 72,000-square-foot building will be home to a number of programs, including nursing, health information management, and surgical technology. Construction is expected to be completed in the fall of 2025. Katera McCarty won the $75,000 first place prize in the NBA Foundation's 2024 All-Star Pitch Competition for Exhale, a company based around an app that provides mental health support focused on Black women. McCarty said she will now work to create partnerships with companies and organizations that have the same mission. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation invite you to the Engage Indiana series, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. With an unrelenting focus on growing Indiana's economy, we'll dive into each region's unique challenges and distinct opportunities for growth. 9 regions, 1 goal. Indiana's bold future starts here. Discover more and register at ibj.com/engage.
The Indiana National Guard expects to spend about $7.1 million deploying 50 soldiers to the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas for up to 10 months. IIB's Kate Sharon has more.
Master Sergeant Jeff Lowry, the Guard's spokesman, told the Indiana Capital Chronicle the costs include pay and allowances, accommodations, transportation, supplies, and maintenance. Texas Governor Greg Abbott and a growing number of Republican governors, including Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb, say President Joe Biden's administration isn't doing enough to stem the flow of unauthorized migrants. Texas and the federal government are clashing over a recent U.S. Supreme Court order on razor wire, access to a park along the border, and more. Holcomb announced Indiana's deployment this month, after a recent direct request from Abbott. Nearly a dozen other states have Guard soldiers in Texas or have pledged to send some, according to the right-wing Texas scorecard. Indiana soldiers are mobilizing and will have a week of training at Camp Atterbury on, quote, the operations of the mission. Lowry said the Guard is first taking volunteers for the mission. The soldiers are expected to arrive in Texas in mid-March. They're being called up under state active duty, meaning the state of Indiana pays their salaries. An earlier statement from the Guard said it had sufficient funds to cover the costs. Numerous Republican policy leaders have said they fully support Holcomb's decision in constituent newsletters. Democrats have criticized the move. Kate Sharon, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
A major hydrogen project planned for the BP Whiting refinery is expected to bring a major impact to Northwest Indiana. That's according to Congressman Frank Mervan. Speaking at an event Friday, along with U.S. Department of Energy Undersecretary for Science and Innovation Geraldine Richmond, Mervan said the private sector funding for the project could reach up to $6 billion. The project is the result of the coalition known as MACH H2 being designated as a regional hydrogen hub last year by the Biden administration. Mervan said the project would employ more than 16,000 skilled tradesmen as the project goes on, which could take 6 to 10 years to complete. Officials say the project could begin in 2025. Purdue Daniels School of Business Dean Jim Bullard is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.